So, you haven't watched Euphoria, or just want a quick reminder of what happened in season 1? Well, you're in luck, because in today's video I'll be breaking down the first season, and in the end of it I'll give my opinions and thoughts on HBO's massively successful first season of Euphoria. The episode starts off with Rue as a young child where she gets diagnosed with a few disorders and gets put on medication. We cut to the day where she gets released from rehab, and on the drive home she sees Jules for the first time, as well as letting us know she has zero plans on staying sober. Rue goes to buy some medicine from her local doctor Fez, and when she is busy leaving, she gets invited to a party by Nate. We see that Jules is making plans with a guy on a dating app for that night. When Rue gets home, her mom is angry and wants her to take a drug test. Rue goes to her friend Lexi to get some urine to pass the test. Jules arrives at the motel, and when her date asks her age, she lies about it and they continue to hook up. But afterwards, she checks his phone and finds out he has a wife and 2 children. While at the party, Nate and his ex-girlfriend Maddie are using other people to make each other jealous, and Maddie decides to hook up with a guy in the pool. At the same time, Kat also ends up losing her virginity to a guy at the party. Nate finds out about Maddie, and after going to check it out himself, he gets really angry and harasses Jules in the kitchen, but she grabs a knife and he backs down, saying it was just a joke. While Jules tries to leave, Rue goes up to her to check if she's alright and also asks if he can go with her, and Jules says yes. At the end of the episode, we find out that the guy Jules hooked up with is actually Nate's dad. The episode starts off with Nate as a kid and when he found out about his dad's secret activities, and also shows us how he started dating Maddie. While at school, Maddie and her friends are talking about how she hooked up with that guy in the pool, but she lies about it and says she blacked out. So she changes the conversation to how Kat lost her virginity at the party. Kat meets a new kid, Ethan, in class, and they seem to get along pretty well. In class, the teacher asks Rue to tell everyone what she did this summer, but she freaks out and runs out to the bathroom to do some medicine, but before she can, Lexi startles her, making her blow her medicine away, and Rue snaps at Lexi. We then see that Nate has been stalking the guy Maddie hooked up with. While Rue is in her NA meeting, she tricks one of the people there into signing her attendance sheet for the week, even though she didn't attend the meeting. Jules meets a new guy on her dating app and starts talking to him a lot. While at the same time, Kat finds out the guy recorded hooking up with her and leaked it, so she has to force him to delete it and tell everyone it's not her. While Rue is at Fez's house, Fez's supplier Goose arrives and forces Rue to do some fentanyl. Nate breaks into Tyler's apartment and proceeds to beat him up because he slept with Maddie. Kat finds out that her video is still up on websites and that she is getting fans because of it. It gets revealed that the guy Jules has been talking to is actually Nate catfishing her. Episode 3 starts off with Kat still being young, and it shows us how she gained weight in one holiday, and that she has a massive online following because she writes lewd fanfiction. Kat starts getting offers to camgirl for money because of the people who liked her leaked video online. Jules tells Rue that she wants her to stop doing drugs because she doesn't want her to kill herself, and Rue agrees and says she will try to stay clean. Jules starts falling in love with Tyler, who's actually Nate, and we see Maddie is also starting to get suspicious of Nate because his phone keeps going off with messages from Jules. After Rue and Jules hangs out, Rue has to go to another NA meeting, but before she leaves, she steals a pill from Jules and takes it before leaving. After her meeting, she meets Ali, and he says he knows she's not clean and offers to help her, so he gives her his phone number to call if she ever wants help. Kat has her first private call with someone, and he ends up liking to be humiliated and used as a cash pig. Kat obliges. Maddie checks Nate's phone while he's showering and sees nudes of other guys on his phone. Cassie goes to a college party with her boyfriend McKay, where she helps him to complete his frat initiation challenge. Maddie talks to Kat about what she found on Nate's phone, and Kat says it isn't that weird to be honest. Rue goes to Jules' house after they had an argument earlier that day at school and tells her how much she means to her, but ends up kissing her in the moment, so she runs off embarrassed. Tries to get some more medicine from Fez, but he says no, he doesn't want to help her kill herself. So Rue blames him for being on drugs, which isn't true. While Rue walks home, she decides it's time to call Ali and ask for help. When Jules was a child, her mom drove her to a mental hospital to get help, but didn't tell her about it, so just left her there. While Jules was in the hospital, she ended up cutting her wrist for the first time. But we see a big contrast to where she is now, sitting on the couch with a big grin on her face because life is just going good for once. Rue and Ollie are talking in a diner when Ollie tells Rue that she shouldn't quit drugs for Jules because what if Jules isn't there anymore, but should instead quit for herself. Nate argues with Maddie because of the way she is dressed and tell her his parents already don't like her and she's not helping that by dressing this way. McKay tells Nate that he and Cassie aren't in a relationship and this ends up hurting Cassie's feelings. Cassie and Maddie decide to do some Molly to take out their frustrations with their boyfriends. Jules sees Nate's dad at the carnival and tells Rue that he is the guy she hooked up with in the motel that first night of the party. Rue doesn't believe her, so Jules goes up to him and tries to buy something from him, but he ends up dropping it because of the stress of seeing her. So Jules ends up running away with Rue, who believes in her. Kat and Ethan are having a good time until Kat sees Ethan talking to another girl, so she gets mad and runs off. Maddie cusses Nate's mom and Nate grabs her by the arm and drags her away, and he ends up choking her after they argue, but he instantly apologizes. Rue and Jules split up to look for Rue's little sister. Cassie ends up making out with a guy named Daniel at the carnival because she is still mad at McKay. Kat also hooks up with an older guy to get back at Ethan. Rue finds her sister smoking pot with some other kids and takes her away and scolds her. Nate's dad finds Jules and begs her not to ruin his life, and she won't, he doesn't need to stress about it. Rue and her sister go home where Rue covers for her sister so her mom doesn't find out. Jules was supposed to meet up with Tyler but finds out it's actually Nate, and he blackmails her into promising not to say anything about his dad to anyone. Jules goes to Rue's house afterwards and ends up kissing Rue in her bed. When Maddie was young, she used to do a lot of beauty pageants, but had to stop because of some criminal activity from an older creep. But she decided at a young age that she doesn't want to do anything except enjoy life. Rue almost gets caught doing the dirty before dinner, and at dinner her mom asks her what is her relationship with Jules, but she avoids the question. Nate's dad gets called into school and he thinks for a moment it's because of what he did with Jules, but finds out it's because of Nate choking Maddie. When Maddie gets questioned by the principal, she says it wasn't Nate, but they don't believe her and take both of them to the police station for further questioning. Maddie refuses to show them the bruises, so they have to cuff her and cut her shirt off to see the bruises and take photos. When questioning Nate, he says he didn't do it, but still gets expelled while the investigation takes place. Rue apologized to the people at NA for lying to them about being clean, but says she's going to try and stay clean from now on. Maddie and her mom argues about what Nate did, and also about the relationship between her mom and dad. Rue goes to her roller rink with Lexi and Jules to apologize to Lexi for being a bad friend recently, and Lexi tells Jules the reason Rue's doing so good is because of her. Nate ends up meeting with Maddie at the same motel his dad meets up with his special friends. When McKay was a child, his dad forced him to become a star athlete, and even when another kid called him a racial slur, he still got scolded for reacting. McKay has dreamt of making it into the NFL, but after noticing how good everyone in college is, he doesn't think he can do it anymore. Nate and his family try and go to a restaurant, but they get told they can't because of the allegations against Nate. There is a big Halloween party that everyone is attending. Rue finds her sister smoking weed at the Halloween party, so she takes a guy she is with and threatens him to treat her sister right and to stop letting her smoke weed. Kay and Cassie argue over the phone, so Cassie starts getting really drunk. Rue apologizes to Fez at the party and he forgives her and says it's fine. Ethan and Kat go and make out in a bathroom, and Ethan starts giving Kat some special treatment but ends up doing the dirty in his pants, so he has to go clean it up, but Kat ends up leaving while he goes to clean it up. Jules is also super drunk and decides to go swimming with her costume on and pulls Rue into the water as well. Daniel wants to sleep with Cassie, but after she refuses, he starts berating her. Rue wants to leave, but Jules doesn't want to, so Rue stays to look after her. We find out the reason Jules is drinking so much is because the previous day, Nate forced Tyler to go and take the blame for choking Maddie, and he forced Jules to go and say she saw him do it as well. Nate and Maddie arrive at the party a couple again. When Cassie was younger, she used to want to be an ice skater, but they couldn't afford lessons. Her mom and dad used to argue a lot because her mom was an alcoholic and her dad couldn't keep a job. After a bad argument, her dad leaves and starts visiting her and Lexi on weekends, but started coming less and less as time went on. One night, after drinking a lot, her dad gets into a car accident and gets addicted to morphine while in the hospital. And after getting released, he uses Cassie to open their house so he can steal some stuff for drugs. Rue is going through a period of depression, and when she is not depressed, she goes through a manic episodes, trying to figure out what happened to Jules. Mouse visits Fez while Rue is there and forces him to start selling more products. Jules leaves for a weekend to visit an old friend in the city. Cassie tells McKay she is pregnant and he freaks out, telling her she can't keep. Fez warns Nate to stay away from Rue and her friends or he will have to get involved. While in the city, Jules meets a girl and ends up hooking up with her after doing some product and going to a club. Rue collapses because she kept laying in a bed and refused to go to the bathroom. Cassie asks her mom to help her with her abortion. Fez gets raided and has to flush all the product Mouse gave him so they don't find. Rue tries to convince the nurse to give her some narcotics, but the doctor stops it from happening. Rue also tells us how much she loves being in hospital. Jules visits Rue in hospital and tells her everything that has happened with her and Nate. Fez gets his gun and starts following Mouse around. Nate arrives at Winter Formal with another girl that's not Maddie, and we see that the two of them had a massive argument and Maddie stole the disc containing the video of Nate's dad hooking up with Jules. Kat confesses her feelings to Ethan at the Winter Formal, and Ethan tells her he has liked her from the start, and the two of them kiss and leave the Winter Formal. Maddie and Nate try and make each other jealous again with other people on the dance floor. We see how Cassie went to the abortion clinic with her mom. Rue threatens Nate to leave her and Jules alone, but Nate tells her that Jules will leave her one day and she can't do anything about that. Cassie goes through the abortion, but while doing it, she imagines she is ice skating, showing us that she still has the same dream she had when she was younger. Fez follows Mouse to his supplier, a doctor, but while robbing him, the doctor reaches for the gun and Fez has to beat him up while the doctor's son watches. Rue tells Jules they should leave and go to the city. Jules agrees, but while packing clothes at Jules' home, Rue starts having second thoughts, but Jules reassures her they should do it. Nate asks Maddie to dance and Maddie tells Nate they shouldn't be together and Nate says yes he knows, so they break up for the final time. When Jules and Rue reaches the train station, they're about to leave, but Rue decides she can't do it to her family, but Jules ends up leaving without her, leaving Rue crying. We end the season off with Rue walking home and continuing to cry, and when she gets home she relapses. So I'm gonna be pretty honest, I went into Euphoria with some really low expectations. But to be honest, I'm glad to say that I'm pleasantly surprised by the first season. For starters, the qualities of the visuals and camera work is something I really didn't expect. Like that carnival scene where the camera goes from Maddie and Cassie doing Molly to them on the Ferris wheel in one shot. That literally made me pause and go back to watch it again. I really do think that the visuals and camera work has been some of the best I've seen in any series I've watched recently. Now obviously there are some things I don't like about it. Like personally I felt some of the dialogue and situations they were in was just too unrealistic to be taken seriously by me. If I had to rate it, I'll give the first season of Euphoria a solid 7.5 out of 10. And I'm pretty eager to check out the second season. Let me know what you thought of season 1 of Euphoria in the comments below. If you made it all the way through the video, why don't you drop a like and maybe even consider subscribing. If you enjoyed this video, I think you would enjoy one of my other videos as well, and they're popping up on screen right about now. So click on one of them. Do it. This is peer pressure. How does it feel to be peer pressured, huh? Okay. Thanks for watching guys. It's been the Showstopper and I'm signing off.